at the store, choke on the smoke. They tell me to quit, don't listen what I'm told. They help me forget that this world is so cold. I don't even know what I'm chasing no more. Tell me what I want, let's keep searching on. It's never enough, cup after cup, blunt after blunt. I wouldn't get one if I could find a far.
What is up, everybody? This is the inaugural episode for 2025 Foul Ball Talk. Matt Trigger, Tim Malarkey, and our buddy Zach. This is our first show featured for the new season on Pigtown Sports YouTube channel. Fellas, what's going on?
Matt, what's going on, fellas? 3 weeks.
Tim, you're looking mighty official.
3 weeks. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
You look
real cute tonight, Tim.
Anymore.
Like I'm underwater.
Yeah.
You know, with your 8-track quality camera that you had last season.
It was analog. It ran on solar panels.
Very, very forward thinking of you, sir. But let's get this show on the road. This is the first episode of the 2025 season. We are just under 3 weeks away from spring training. And Zach and I have been on air on the Pigtown Sports channel, just airing grievances and getting pissed off about a lot of things. Tim, you are finally back in the fold. It is a new season. It is a fresh season. And we got a lot to talk about tonight, guys. Zach's going to run point on all the graphics and the topics. But let's hope these boys don't break our heart this year.
Yeah, I had to completely check out of football. I'm locked in. We got 3 weeks. Let's go.
Football's pretty much over. I got a end of the year award show for the Ravens to do with Daniel, and then we're pretty much gonna float and coast here and there. You know, this offseason has been rather frustrating, guys. I know Zach and I have talked about a lot of it. Tim, I know you and I, all three of us, talk every day on the group chat. I'm kind of excited for this show because there's, some potential trades that are floating in the ether right now that we can all chime in on, as well as our guests. As well as our listeners.
Yeah, let's get kicked off here with Dylan Carlson. We'll get that out of the way here.
Yeah.
The writing on the wall.
The reaction, it kind of leads into it, honestly. The reaction from the fan base, I guess generally warranted. It's not a needle mover for most people, but look, this is a 26-year-old guy. I understand his big league time. It hasn't been great, but he's got speed. He plays all three outfield positions. He's a switch hitter. And, you get a healthy Dylan Carlson, you might get some pretty decent production. The guy's hit 285 in his career against left-handed pitching. We've come on the show a lot last year and talked about how bad the Orioles were against left-handed pitching. They really made it a point this year to sign guys who hit left-handed pitching. I don't think they have an issue with anybody else in that lineup hitting against righties. It was the lefties that posed the most problems last year. And, look, Tyler O'Neill smashes them, and Dylan Carlson smashes them. And a lot of things that people are looking over. The guy's a 281 career hitter against the East. I don't know about you guys. I like guys that perform against our competition. And I don't care if he hits 200 against the NL this year. Pretty much our entire lineup did last year. You come out and you hit 281 against the East, you even give me 260. I'm going to be pretty happy, especially as a platoon player. This guy is better to me, and obviously, than Austin Slater. He's better than Austin Hayes at this point. And, probably a little higher ceiling than Ryan McKenna. I don't see why people are upset about a fourth or a fifth, maybe even a sixth outfielder. But, we're going to get into it here. Something may be looming.
Yeah, I don't mind the signing. You can never, it never hurts to have a decent switch hitter off the bench. I think that he's also going to be a pretty decent pinch hitter, especially given his experience against the AL East. We play 80 games against those guys. It's 20, I believe it's 19 or 20 games per team in the AL East. So I'm not opposed to this.
Yeah.
Does it spell the writing on the wall for some guys? Possibly, but he's not going to be an everyday player. he's going to be a platoon guy or a pinch hitter, late game defensive sub. So I'm okay with it. I think that he's kind of what the doctor ordered for the bench.
For sure.
No, for sure. I mean, my thing is that if my biggest question is if he's what's the writing on the wall there? Because we already know that that there's a log jam, so to speak. So if you're bringing him in, there has to be a corresponding move. I mean, I sat down there and went through the roster tonight, and I mean, while it's good to have a platoon, it looks like we're going back to that platoon method again. I just think it's going to be tight. It's coming down to some couple names here that the fan base is going to kind of get white knuckled at to hear. We'll be getting moved. I like the guy. I mean, I think he could definitely have some sort of resurgence. I think that he's one of those kind of Elias sees it and says, I think I can do something with that. We've already mentioned, he was 2021. He was in top 5 voting for Rookie of the Year. So there's a lot there. Now the bigger question is why did this kind of move come out of nowhere, and what's following this move?
Yeah.
Look, we have an abundance of outfitters. I posted it earlier how deep we are for years to come. We need pitching, and a lot of other teams need hitting. And I feel like we have certain players that are expendable. Maybe. I don't want to say it like that. I don't want to say that we're just trying to get rid of these guys. We have guys that we're able to get rid of for pitching without taking too much of a hit, so to say.
Yeah.
Here's
the thing. We're now essentially at the end of the offseason. Let's just pitchers and catchers.
13 days or something?
13 or 14 days until pitchers and catchers report to Fort Lauderdale and or Sarasota, wherever it's at. And it's clear that they didn't really do a whole lot on the free agent market in terms of acquiring an ace or a B tier pitcher or an elite bullpen arm. So right now, where this team is, we're going to have to deal some guys that we don't necessarily want to deal. It's going to hurt. And it's going to be some guys that that this fan base has grown attached to. But if the names that are out there being floated right now are indeed available, and the price is right, and the time is right, and it's prime picking season, so to speak, this team is going to look a lot different when we get to spring training.
Oh, for sure. I think we're still looking at potentially two other players that are going to be added to this roster. Look, we can be blunt about it. We have position players that are upgradable, and we have a couple bullpen arms that are upgradable. And whether you upgrade them with Sagano or Suarez or Kramer or something like that because you've added to the starting rotation, look, it only makes everything down below it even stronger. So I think it's about to be a wild 13 days, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely. It's going to be wild. It's going to be emotional for a lot of these fans. It's all speculation at this point, and what we're doing is a lot of hyperbole. But there's a lot that can be true about what we're going to be talking about, and I'll give you your credit, Zach. You brought it up in the group chat. We really just kind of threw this together for the show about 45 minutes ago, honestly. So it's going to be interesting because if that arm in particular, if we get another king in this city, I'm okay with it. I'm definitely okay with it. And there's going to be some tough, discussions that are going to have to be had amongst Birdland.
Definitely. If anything, this adds a little bit of excitement. I think seeing this move today gave me, I know it's not necessarily the move that got me, excited or pump a little bit about the guy himself. It's the potential of what's behind it, because as you guys all know, I think we have been thirsting for something.
Yeah.
Show us some sort of life, like give us something. And this kind of hints at it. I will be left blatantly surprised if this is nothing. Like,
this isn't a nothing burger to me. It can't be, Tim. There's no way. I mean, I'm not overemphasizing it. Sorry, Zach. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying the only thing we can't let happen is at this point. So, all right, we don't want to leave people out in the dark here. So, the Padres made Michael King available today. The worst case scenario right now, the Orioles get outbid.
Yep.
The Padres are trying to move him. He's a free agent at the end of this season, as is Dylan Cease. If the Orioles get outbid by someone else in this situation for either one of those two guys, then it's a big fail, in my opinion. They cannot lose. If he's available, you got to make a way to go do it.
You have to. You absolutely have to. And I know we were shooting the crap in the group chat today of like possible options and stuff like that. And it's before we get into it and talk about it, it's just we have so many different ways it could go. Like we're loaded with the ability to be able to make this happen. So make it happen. I mean, if we're going to get into a bidding war, that's not necessarily anywhere that we know our GM wants to be. So just go out there before you have the chance to be in that bidding war and make it happen.
Here's the thing about that. It may be a bidding war, but right now the Orioles are primed for what the Padres want. They want cheap, controllable players.
Yeah.
Guys that aren't going to break their bank. And if they can get Cease and King off of their books, if they know that we're going to have to eat both of those contracts, I think that they'll be okay with not getting a Basayo or not getting a Jackson Holiday-esque kind of return. Now, like you guys have been saying this entire show, there's a lot of outfielders on this team.
Yeah.
There's a lot of infielders vying for this team. So, who's the most attractive to the Padres? And that's Heston. Heston or like
Kobe.
Or Kobe.
Kobe or Heston. And
it could be Bradfield.
Yeah.
Could be.
It could be.
It could, it could be one of the younger guys that's a little bit behind, but they'll put Bradfield right in center field opening day.
The only thing
I think Milkman's untouchable.
Yeah.
Right now.
For sure. I think the only thing that throws me off about Bradfield, why it would be, why wouldn't they want to go after him? At the same time, I think that we might be looking to clear space now, and he's not creating an issue for space now. Gentlemen, let me phrase this question to you. If it's Kobe or Silent J, what's your choice? Who do you want to keep on the team? Put it that way.
Heston.
Probably Heston. Maybe
if I had a choice, if Mayo or Heston had to go, Mayo can go, because Mayo seems like a typical Padres acquisition anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. So look, Mayo has game-changing power. It's just trying to find a spot to put him. It's not like a Ryan Mountcastle thing when he was coming up and, they tried him at third, they tried him at short, they tried him at left field, they tried him at right field, and they, settled in at first base. We're, as a franchise, past that point where you can kind of just try this kind of guy in multiple positions because you have really good players at almost all those positions. Yeah. Can you leave a guy like that just to DH with the other amount of talent that you have that needs to probably DH too?
I want to answer somebody's question from for Brendan about the pessimism. Okay, here's the thing. It's not mental gymnastics. To be frank with you about this, saying that we're all of a sudden in on these blockbusters guys, there's a lot of chatter right now about it. And here's the thing. If we wanted to fix our rotation with Flaherty and not worry about Cease or Michael King, we'd have signed Flaherty 3 weeks ago, a month ago at the winter meetings. So let's just be real about that. If we wanted to fix this rotation, we would have fixed it another way.
Unless
I want to add that too. So I was on Jack Flaherty. I was all on him. I was convinced that he was better than Cease. when I see Michael King's numbers here, this is over the last 3 seasons since 2022. I want Michael King. And he's going to cost less than Dylan Cease.
Yeah, he's going to cost a lot less than Cease. But, you know, the thing is, what I'm saying is, out of all 3 of those guys, Flaherty's attainable right now.
Right.
And it won't cost us any of our prospects or our major league ready guys.
Yep.
So to me, it's not being overly optimistic that we're in on these guys. We've been linked to Cease all off season. It seems like. And we know that if we trade for King, it could very well be another Burns-esque situation.
Yep.
You know, but you got to take the chance on that. You got to.
Unless guys
were, think you have to go that high.
As high as what, like a DL and a Joey deal?
I mean,
I don't think so.
So think about that. That would be equivalent to that would be Heston and Povich.
Yes.
And I don't think you have to go that high for Michael King.
I don't think so either.
For Dylan Cease, yeah. For Michael King, no.
Yeah, for Cease, you're going to have to.
Now, what if you added 2 names to those 2 names and went in for both of them and sent a pitcher back in return like a Kramer?
Now here's the thing. If I'm Elias, obviously you're going to have to part with Heston or Mayo to get this thing started.
Yeah, easy.
I don't think it's going to be both of them. And if they're asking for both of them, you might as well throw us another bullpen arm while you're at it. I think you would have to entertain Suarez or Kramer going back in the deal.
Kramer 100%, probably McDermott and or Povich too.
But you can't get rid of your only lefty on the team right now. That's a starter.
That's what I'm saying. And you also you don't want to get rid of, so like Heston has 5 years left control.
Yeah.
You know, Mayo has 6 years control. Kramer's got 3. Povich has got 5. Like, you don't want to give up multiple guys with that long of control for 2 guys that are free agents at the end of the season. Like, I would be pissed off myself.
Yeah, no, I mean, we all could be completely fooled here, and the Orioles could be completely confident with what they have.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the track record. It really is.
It is, but I truly don't. I truly believe that we're going to have to, just so the Orioles can save face, I think, with this offseason amongst the fan base. This trade is very attainable. Now, we might be out of the top 10 in terms of farm value and farm strength, because a lot of our guys are now either in AAA or they're in the majors. So that single A and double A depth isn't necessarily there right now, and I'm okay with that. But if they want either Mayo or Heston, and they want McDermott, and they want, you know, Kramer, if Kramer, McDermott, and Mayo can get you both of those guys, you do it tomorrow. But I don't think Mayo's going to get that done alone. So if it's Heston and those 2 guys, they still get that done. I do it. And that opens up the outfield, because now, instead of rushing Bradfield up here, you can rock with O'Neill being an everyday right fielder for a year. And then you can platoon him with whoever you need to when righties are in the equation, or you can just make O'Neill be a big boy and face him. I know there's a lot of analytics to it, but I think that you can get this done. We have enough major league ready guys right now to where we can swing this trade feasibly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're going to bring 12 pitchers, right? And we're going to bring 12. Maybe, you know, so if you just name the 12, it's Eflin, Kramer, Grayson, Morton, Sagano, Suarez, Soto, Perez, Kittredge, Sir Anthony, Cano, Aiken, and the Mountain.
That's 13.
Where, like, something, I mean, the weird thing about it is like,
you're allowed to have 13, right?
Yeah, you can, yeah. But most of the time they'll bring 12. I mean, they could bring 13. So if they brought in one of those guys, you know, one of those names has to go. That was 13 I named. So it's
Soto,
who's your odd man out?
Perez.
Yeah, so like I said, we have upgradable guys.
Fuck them. Excuse my language, but
You could send Suarez back to reunite with his brother.
I like Suarez.
I like him.
I like Suarez.
I do too.
Here's the thing. Kramer is low-key good, but he's not a 3, he's not a 2. He's a good
3.5.
He's a good 4. He's a good 4 and he's a great 5.
Yeah.
But we got a bunch of those right now. And if Kramer adds value to get Cease or King in here, yeah.
But who do you have winning out that 3 those 3 names for that 5th spot between Sugano, Morton, and Kramer?
Morton's number 3.
Morton's our 3rd. Morton is our 3.
So you think
right now it's Eflin, Rodriguez, Morton. That's our 1, 2, 3.
And then Kramer for sure.
Kramer's our 4, and Sugano's most likely our 5, or it's Povich.
Yeah,
but
if
you move Kramer, you're not going to pay Sugano $13 million to be a bullpen arm.
Yeah, well, I mean they did Kimbrel, but I get it.
But that was the guy.
A little different.
That was a lot different because you had no clue about the back end of your bullpen because Batista was cooked.
Right.
He wasn't seeing the field, so you had to do that. But now you don't have to do that.
So now, you're going. So you're right. Your 3, 4, 5 would be Morton, Sugano, and Kramer, or Kramer 4, Sugano 5, whatever happens.
If you move Kramer to get that arm, then Sugano's your clear 4, and Povich is your clear 5, or Sugano's Sugano's your 5, and Morton moves down to your 4.
Yeah,
and then Rodriguez moves to your 3, Eflin moves to your 2, and then whoever you get from the Padres is the 1.
But my concern, and I hear you, I like how that is, but that's why I'm pushing the we need 2 guys narrative, because right now as it stands, you don't have that battle for the 6th and 5th spot. We know how pitching went last year. If we didn't have Suarez be that guy that he was, if we didn't have Povich come up and be able to do what he was, we're sitting pretty right now with that solid 5 without any buffer. There's no 2-man buffer. There's no 2 possible starter buffer there.
I know I haven't been much on the Cease train this year, and maybe it's because the Burns situation left a bad taste in my mouth going after 1-year rentals, but I trust Cease more than I trust Flaherty.
Oh yeah.
Flaherty getting injected into this rotation. Flaherty's your automatic ace by proxy. He's not going to come in here and not start opening day. He would be the best pitcher on the rotation just based on 2024 numbers. And you got to erase what he did in the middle of 2023 from your head completely. So to me, it's a situation where I'd rather give up a couple of these outfielders and maybe one of these starters to get one of these guys in here to solidify this rotation. I'm trying to be a little bit more optimistic about this because I was really pissed a couple of weeks ago. And
rightfully so.
Yeah. But a rotation with Cease or King at the front end with Eflin and G-Rod, I'm a lot more confident with this offense I know we have.
Yeah. And I think the offense would be a little bit more confident too.
Yeah. Now looking at
I still think Jack is good. I mean, Jack would still help the team, but I would prefer Michael King over that.
Yeah. Now, if you go and get one of these guys and you sign Flaherty, okay, that's even better.
Then you have to move Kramer at that point.
Yeah, but the thing is, you move Kramer in the Padres deal.
Yeah,
you send Kramer to the Padres, and then you probably sweeten it up with McDermott, maybe Fabian, and then you can get both of those guys over here. That's just where I'm at with it.
Don't tempt me with a good time. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa. Hey there, Brooks.
I did want to touch back on this comment.
You wanted to touch Brooks back?
Yeah, maybe. No. Do you guys remember months ago those 3 guys that they signed out of the Mexican League that all throw 100 miles an hour?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't heard a word about them. And I wouldn't be shocked if one of them jumps and takes a spot because they have a really good spring.
They can jump up and take Aiken. They can jump up and take Soto. They can jump up and take Cano. Yeah. If they throw 100,
I wouldn't be shocked.
You know,
I wouldn't be shocked.
I'm perfectly okay with that because I want new blood in this bullpen, and we don't have enough of it.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Kittredge. You guys know how I feel about Perez.
Yeah.
Well,
and I wanted to touch on this too. I mean, are we all in agreement that Bradfield is probably the next one to come up?
I would say Bradfield might be the next one, but Beavers is right there.
He is.
And that dude is like raw power. If you move Heston, Beavers isn't far off in terms of absolute power the way Heston is.
Yeah, he's a little bit more of a complete outfielder too, in my opinion.
He's good in the outfield. He's got range. You know, Beavers is just it just so happens he got drafted to a team that has a ton of really good outfield prospects. You know, he'd probably be in the majors in about 15 other teams.
Who Beaver? Yeah, for sure. Bradfield would have been in the majors last year for about 20 other teams.
Yeah.
The defense is that good. I feel like 20 other teams would have just been like, oh, you're young, you figure the bat out. We just want you for the glove. Bradfield, in my opinion, is probably a 5 to 7 time Gold Glove winner in the major leagues. If he stays that long with his bat, the defense is that good though.
Yeah. I think it might determine. We see what kind of jump Seti gets off to.
You already have one, Mike.
Seti, if he has one of those slow starts again this year, we might see it sooner than you think.
Yeah.
If Seti turns it around full speed, we're not going to see him at all.
You know, it's funny that we're talking about Cedric, and when you put it out on the Facebook page, Zach, about what do you think his stats are, I think I was the only one that predicted another below average year. I'm not saying this as out of a place of hatred or ill will, but I think this team has passed Cedric by in terms of where they're heading and where they're going and the players they got on this team. I know he's still a good outfielder, but you got Cowser that can play center field just as good, if not better than he can. He's faster. He's got a better cannon of an arm to play center field. Bradfield can play center field. And every other outfielder that we have can hit above 210.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting him to return anywhere close to his 30-30 season. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic. He's done a lot for this team over the course of his career here. But you got to call a spade a spade. If we can throw him in one of these deals to get an arm, and San Diego, they take him. That's fine.
I don't think they don't have any room for him.
They got a problem. They got a roster problem.
I know they got a roster problem, but just to
could they use him? Yeah. I mean, you can move Merrill to left field, but I mean, he just made the All-Star team as a center fielder.
You know, it's a predicament, or you just do one of those things where you trade Seti to the Athletics, or you trade him to, some place like where he'll play every day. Give him or send him to a contender and let him platoon. But he's not going to be.
You know who needs him?
He's not going to be every day.
You know who needs him?
Who's that?
Philadelphia.
Honestly, that would be a good look. And if they gave us a mid-level prospect, like an arm to
Moisey's chance back.
Give him a chance to play somewhere, because it's not going to be here.
Yeah,
because Cowser's ready, Bradfield will be ready, and Cowser's athletic enough to play everywhere in the Orioles outfield. He can play right field, he can play left field, and he can definitely play center.
And Carlson's an everyday guy. I don't think people realize that.
He can be, but he's not going to be here.
He could earn it.
He could earn it, but
he could earn it.
I'm talking about if the season starts tomorrow, Carlson's your 5th outfielder.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but so was Austin Slater at one point, and then all of a sudden he was leading off a couple games. Like,
yeah, don't, Jesus.
I'm not putting anything past this team.
Don't do that.
The thing is, if Cedric Mullins does break camp with this team, and he is on the major league roster for the Orioles on March 27th or whatever,
he's a platoon player.
He's a platoon player, but the thing is, he shouldn't be batting anywhere above 7th in this lineup.
I don't think he would.
He would probably be an 8-hole or a 9-hole hitter.
Yeah, and which is fine.
It's fine, but the thing is, you're not gonna gamble with this. This is not the year to gamble with Cedric Mullins being your leadoff guy.
Absolutely not.
You've got
you gamble with Cowser, and that's probably about it.
You give, but the thing is, Cowser should be our 2 or our 3.
But that's your boy Adley's spot, Matt.
No, it's not. He needs to be batting like 7th.
He needs to be batting 5th.
He
needs to earn the second hole.
Don't get me started on him. I don't care if you're meeting him next week, Tim. That shit does not bother me a little bit. He needs to be batting 6th or 7th. He's not a top of the lineup hitter.
I was baiting you for it.
I know you were baiting me, and I'm not going to get started. I was about to, but I'm not going to. Okay. Anyway, I fucking hate you, dog. Anyway, but everybody knows that the top of the lineup hitters are Westy, Gunnar, Holiday, Cowser, Mountcastle, some combination of those guys. You know, Mountcastle's a 4 or 5 hitter on this team right now.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, he's another one that is borderline on what you were saying about Cedric with this team passing them by is Mountcastle.
Yeah,
I mean, he still has the youth, but I feel similar about him the way that I do about Cedric, and I really hope that this might be where we see it. But this could be the year. Was that a sound effect? I really hope that this could be the year where we see it. We see it happen with Mountie, but I don't know.
But that also brings up what I was just saying about Cedric. We are now officially out of this rebuild. Let's just call that plain as day. They were looking at this year being out of the rebuild anyway. We're now 2 years removed from a quote-unquote rebuild.
Yeah.
You sucked all these years. You got Cowser up here. You got Holiday up here. You got Adley up here. You got Gunnar. You got Westy. Like, Mountcastle and Mullins got us through the suckage. And doing right by them is getting them on a team where they can play every day and not have to worry about the pressure of being on a good playoff baseball team and hitting below their body weight.
I want to see Mayo come up and hit some frickin' moonshots, man.
But who would the Mets give us? Who would the Mets give us anyway? There's nobody over there that would, Well,
Alonso wants $1 million, so
we got to touch on this. So I read that Boris's new thing, and it had started.
Oh,
with
I know
Pete
where you're
Alonso.
going with this. I read it today too. Go ahead.
It started with Pete Alonso.
Mm-hmm.
So Boris wants, on top of a fully guaranteed, he wants the guaranteed contract to be fully guaranteed. Like, this guy's a moron, but he wants opt-outs. So to put this into perspective, the Orioles have a 3-year deal with Tyler O'Neill, right? He gets an opt-out after year 1 at $16.5 million. Boris wants the Mets. So where if we were the Mets, if Tyler O'Neill opts out, the Orioles would still have to finish paying him that full $50 million.
Yeah. So
while Tyler could go sign with another team
elsewhere, it's basically like, I opt out and you pay me.
Well,
so
no,
that's what he told the Mets.
I'm going to pay you while you're here.
Yes. Well, he wants you to pay you or pay his guy while they're not there and playing for another team.
So
is he a fucking idiot?
It's like
Dude,
essentially
he runs baseball. I don't think people understand it. He runs baseball.
It's like quitting your job and telling them they have to still pay you while you go to work for another job
and get another contract, which is that's insane.
Yeah, that's what he wants to start proposing for all of his clients.
Yep.
And all of his clients can sit at home.
That's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Jordan Westberg, Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is if it's either you play the contract out or you get paid for the years that you're here.
Yeah,
I mean, because now that's set the precedent where every Boras client is going to.
He's going to attract more clients.
He's going to attract more clients, but now they're going to go play. They're going to go sign with a shit team. 3 years, $80 million. After the first year out, that they're going to leave and go play for another decent team for a pay cut, and still get the rest of that 80 after years 2 and 3. No, man, no. The way baseball is going right now, this lockout that's going to happen in a couple of years is going to be astounding. Between Boras and the Dodgers, baseball is not going to be played for a year.
Yeah, dude, Boras is ruining baseball worse than the Dodgers are, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's definitely doing it some injustice. And he's what, 72, I think I read? 70?
Can he be 82 for crying out loud?
Yeah, I mean, but he doesn't do
Can he
doesn't
beat
have
Peter
to do
Angelos?
anything. He could do this forever.
He could.
I mean,
just makes a lot of money. I mean, he just made, I think, what did he make? $56 million off Soto?
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, don't need to work.
Speaking of throwing all this money around.
Dude, he had Bregman. I don't know if you guys saw this. He made Bregman turn down 6 for 156
from the Astros.
Yeah, 6 for 156. It was like 25 a year. And
Bregman's
he's like,
going to be a Dodger.
My guy's worth more than that.
Bregman's going to be a Dodger. He's going to sign
like everybody else.
He's going to sign for $190 million. They're going to pay him $47 next year.
$47.
And then he's going to get the rest of it in 2037.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Speaking of all this money thrown around, we haven't talked about this in front of our viewers right now, but I don't know if anyone saw the Yahoo finance meetings in Switzerland or Sweden. Our fearless owner, Daddy David Rubenstein.
It's Rubenstein. I'm not calling that man Daddy.
He made some interesting comments, and the reason I bring this up is because last year when he came in, his original comments were, I want to win now. I'm old. I don't have time. I want to compete in October. That was the message that we got from the fans. And then it was a little bit different when he spoke at the Yahoo finance meetings. He said, he seemed rather, I don't know if you would say grim, but his tone changed to, I feel as though there needs to be a salary cap in baseball, which we all agree with. There needs to be a salary cap in baseball.
There you go, Tim.
Yeah, there it is. I wish it would be the case that we would have a salary cap in baseball the way that other sports do. And maybe eventually we will, but we don't have that now. To me, that sounds like a light bulb went off in the man's head, sees what the Dodgers are doing, sees what the Mets bring to the table, and he's thinking, I can't compete. This isn't fair. Look what the Dodgers are doing. I can't handle that.
But the Dodgers are kicking the can down the road 10, 15 years. The Mets are just giving absurd money to everybody because their owner is a multi-billionaire that does not care. He's like the Mets. The Mets are like a play toy to him. He's a fan with billions.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I also definitely agree that there needs to be a salary cap. I just think it's interesting to hear this change in tone from your owner who originally sounds like, hey, I want to win now. I'm going to spend money. I own the Magna Carta and a bunch of pandas. I got the money. Let's do this. And then flash forward to a year later and it's like, well, there should be a salary cap.
But here's the thing about the salary cap. Now you're talking about making a definite salary cap, salary ceiling, however they want to put it in baseball terms. How do you police that with these organizations that have already invested millions, sometimes over $500 million in some of these guys? You can't tell the Dodgers, you got to get rid of Shohei to get it cap compliant. There's a reason that there's no salary cap in baseball. They have the absolute strongest union out of all professional sports.
By far.
They have been gangsters for 30, 40 years now, at least in our lifetime. They have been gangster enough to avoid a salary cap at all costs. The NFL will never come off of the salary cap because of the parity. And they love the hot stove in terms of players being traded and players signing.
Absolutely.
You know, baseball gets 3 or 4 big names every offseason. The NFL has about 20 or 30 guys that will make impacts elsewhere. And it's a broader spectrum because there's only a certain amount of money these guys can make per year under the salary cap rules. The NBA's got a salary cap, but all their contracts are guaranteed. So they got the best of both worlds. You're not getting that in the major leagues. It's not going to happen. And if the Dodgers win, like Joe just said, the Dodgers win 2 more, the owners are going to push for it. The thing is, these owners that are the billionaires that are spending money at will to put good players on their field are never going to agree to it. You know who wants a salary cap? The teams that don't want to pay for anything. The Orioles have a billionaire owner. And how much money have they spent this offseason?
4th most in baseball.
Yeah, 4th most.
4th most in baseball. But what do we have to show for it?
I mean, that's just the market, though.
It's the market. No, I get it. It's the market. We don't have any A list or B list or even C list free agent. So that's the absurdity of MLB free agency. But these owners aren't going to put a cap on it because now you're going to have teams like the Mets and the Dodgers that are going to be handcuffed into having to get rid of their teams that are winning them baseball games, and more so the Dodgers than anybody else. The thing is, if you want to compete with the Los Angeles Dodgers, you got to do what they're doing to a certain degree.
$5 beers.
And that's cool. Oriole Park got a value menu. I know where to go be fat when I'm watching a baseball game. Okay, I can be fat and not spend a lot of money. That's all well and good, but everybody's complaining about the Dodgers, but nobody wants to admit that the Dodgers are doing what every team wishes they could do. And they're in a prime market. They're in Los Angeles, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. I think you've got a couple teams that are close, but they're not in prime markets. I mean, Philadelphia has put together a culture just like LA. I feel like Baltimore's put together a culture just like LA. But would you want to live in Philly and Baltimore? No.
When you can live in California.
Right. The flat out answer is no.
No.
The flat out answer is no. We talked about this on these lives before. It's more to it than meets the eye.
Yeah. So part of me, when I listen to Rubenstein's comments too, and I think a lot of this stems from pretty much what our entire show is, San Diego is imploding from the inside out, and
easily
he looks at that. So San Diego spent like they were the Dodgers for a few years. It all started with Eric Hosmer. No, but it all started with Eric Hosmer. And then they dumped a shit ton of money into Machado, and then a shit ton of money into Tatis, and then a shit ton of money into Bogarts. And then they gave Luis Arraez a shit ton of money. People don't realize that the Orioles make more a year than San Diego. And now they're flat broke to the point where they need to get rid of almost everybody. And they don't even have major league talent in their minor leagues to even have a team next year. That's how bad it is in San Diego.
No, it's going to be Manny and Tatis. It's going to be Manny and Tatis.
But the thing is, though, they didn't defer. They didn't defer any of that money. They paid.
They probably should have, because right now they're screwed.
Right. They. It's not like San Diego can worry about this in 2035 or 2030, for that matter, or 2040. That's fair.
I like what Zach said earlier. Slide me Jackson, Merrill, and King, and I'll give you Povich.
Merrill's cheap right now.
Holiday.
Man. Merrill is cheap.
Merrill's going to cost a lot. Merrill's going to cost more than Tatis.
Merrill's going to cost a lot of money, but he's not going to make that money in San Diego. He's probably going to head up to.
He'll be a Dodger.
He'll be a Dodger. He'll be a Giant. He'll be a Yankee. Something of that ilk. But
I don't know. I think what you were saying, Zach.
I don't think Mayo gets Jones.
That what Rubenstein sees what happening with the Padres right now. Not only does it make him think, make him realize, it could also be something where he's sitting back and being like, "Look, I waited for this. It's happening now. Let's go spend money."
but it's also the fact that this situation in San Diego could get so dire that the league could end up controlling them.
I want to touch on that when you guys are done.
You know, the thing is, you could probably go to the Padres right now, and you could probably ask them for any of their major league stars, and they'd probably give you whatever you want outside of Jackson. Maybe Machado, but Machado's making what, 400 million, 350 million?
I don't even think the
350,
the Dodgers are going to eat half of Machado or half of Tatis.
They don't even want to eat Arenado's contract right now.
Yeah.
They're smart about their money in baseball. But going back to this, why do players agree to defer cash? So a lot of guys that do defer are actually non-Americans. So when they actually are starting to get a chunk of their money, they don't typically live here anymore, and or they're not playing in the state that has high state taxes. Like, look at Santander. He's got $63 million deferred. So in Canada, you pay your U.S. federal tax, which in that rate was what, 34, 36%, Tim? That's your domain.
Yeah.
So you're paying 34 to 36% here on top of every single state you play in. You pay that state tax, and then you pay 33% in Canadian federal tax. So Santander kicks away $63 million. So when he's done playing, he no longer has to pay $63 million in Canadian tax. So he basically saves himself 33% of that. Yeah. Same with Ohtani. Ohtani's not gonna live in the United States.
He's going to go back to Japan.
Right. And he'll be paying Japanese taxes instead of US taxes.
Right.
You know, he'll pay a little bit here. It's not going to be as much. You know, it's a tax thing. These guys get out. Like Blake Snell, when he's done, he's retired. He doesn't have to pay California state tax on 5 years of his deal. So it makes sense in the player.
Look what Chris Davis is doing.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think he lives in Texas.
He does.
Right.
And he's getting millions from the Orioles every single year. And he's paying nothing on the income because he lives in Texas. He established residency. So he's not paying any income tax on that. He's just paying the federal tax.
Yep.
And that's why it's surprising to me that Canadian teams can be as competitive as they can, because their players are getting, they're paying
shellacked.
They're getting hit over the head, and I think
it's went up a lot in the last couple of years when they started giving out that free health care and stuff like that. Taxes went out the wahoo.
Trudeau's policies, and I don't know much on Canadian policy, but from what I've seen on television and read online in terms of it affecting athletics, I mean the athletes in that country, pretty soon the Raptors and the Maple Leafs and the Blue Jays in particular,
they're going to try and get out.
They're going to try and leave. They're not, if they're going to pay that much money, they're going to try and go stateside.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if the Raptors left Toronto and they went to some place either in Michigan or, somewhere in the Great Lakes area,
Nashville,
some place with a lot of land and a lot less money to pay. These owners aren't going to stick around for that.
Yep.
When these players got to pay taxes in every state they play in, and like that's worse than basketball and hockey, because they go to way more states than baseball and football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look at a guy like Juan Soto. I mean, he's got to pay a state tax. What is he making? 51 million this year. So you take 51 million. Say he plays 3-game set in Baltimore. I really don't know how it breaks down, but I mean, he'll pay, 12 to 15,000 in taxes to the state of Maryland to play 3 games here. Like it's dumb stuff like that. And players don't want to deal with that. So they kick a lot of it down the line. So while they're actually playing, they're paying less taxes because they're making less.
Right.
It's smarter on the player.
Yep. Nope. And that was a good layman's way to explain it to the viewers. It's
I want to correct something that we were just talking about, because I just looked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Pro athlete taxes in Canada. If you make over a certain amount of millions per year, they are by law allowed to tax you from 48 to 53% of your earnings.
Holy shit.
Right.
No wonder Vlad doesn't want to sign there.
Yeah, half your money.
Yeah. And that's after you pay 34 to 36% in the U.S.
And this is on Forbes. So,
Jesus.
You're talking about
No wonder Santander looks so sad in his press conference.
Well,
he ain't gonna make no money.
I don't think he ever wanted to leave personally.
I think he wanted to go anywhere else but Toronto.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
I do too.
I don't think he had a 5-year deal from anyone else.
Oh, Tony.
But yeah, I mean, so look, that's what stems most of this conversation tonight was the ownership in San Diego basically failing. King and Cease are both they're free agents at the end of this year. I feel like at this point, because San Diego doesn't have anything in the pipeline to even fill out a roster next year, they're begging for players that are controllable. They're not going to just give those guys away, but I could see an instance where the Orioles could potentially obtain both of them for the right price. The problem is that price is going to cost you guys with multi-year control. And if you lose both of them at the end of the year, you just lost out on a lot of years control, and that would probably make this fan base jump off a bridge, which we don't want to happen.
Here's the thing, though. We gotta get out of this mind frame about being married to and in love with these prospects and these guys that have been in the system, because they've been here in the system for the better part since 2018. So let's just try to look at it from a pragmatic standpoint. These guys that we're so attached to, they're eventually going to go, whether it's now or in 5 years. But if losing Kjerstad or losing Kobe Mayo nets us a bona fide pitcher or two,
I'm okay losing one of them, but if we would potentially have to lose 4 or 5 of them, and then we don't re-sign either one of them, that's when it stings.
Here's the thing.
And if they're on rentals.
Here's the thing. I think, is King a Boris guy?
No idea.
I don't know.
It also matters. I mean, we've had this conversation before. If we're going to lose one of them or two of them
he does not have an agent listed
for 1 or 2 arms. What do you think our window is? What window? What do we have a 2-year window? We have a 3-year window.
Realistically, our window is 28, maybe 29.
Our farm system's coming to an end.
It's not even about the farm system. It's about the fact that these guys that we have on this team, we have to all prepare ourselves for the fact that we're not going to be able to afford Westberg, Gunnar, Holiday, and
that's
Adley.
a good one. That's a really good one.
But no,
listen, she gets shit done.
Yeah, she got her son paid. So, but we have to realize that you have this finite time now where they're controllable arbitration years and the like, because once 2030 hits, shit's looking rough. I think Jackson might be the only one that's around here still, unless you extend one of these guys. I'd prefer Westberg and Gunnar extension before Adley. And the reason I'm saying that about Adley is because you got Basayo in AAA ready to come up. Adley will hurt, but it's not going to hurt as much without having a generational shortstop coming behind Gunnar.
Yeah.
Or a viable hot corner infielder behind Westberg. But you got the catcher that's ready to be in the majors this year, most likely.
Zach, who's got the best farm system right now? Is it Boston?
LA.
Jesus.
Which is insane. I'm so tired of this shit.
LA's had a top 5 system for like 10 straight years. Like that's just what they do. Like their whole culture and everything is just really good. They're probably not listed the number 1. I just threw it out there, but they probably have the talent to be number 1. So those rankings are kind of odd in my opinion, because
how do you even rank that? But yeah.
Right. So in my opinion, the Orioles still have a top 10 farm system. And I think the last time we looked, we were like 27th, which is ludicrous. We might take 1 year off. we have a shit ton of talent moving into Bowie right now. A shit ton that nobody's even looking at. And last year's draft was really, really good. Like, really good. You're going to see that in Aberdeen this year. So for us to say that we're at 27, I laugh at it because we have so much talent coming.
On Fangraphs, they have us ranked 6th.
They do? Fangraphs did? Baseball, somebody had us at 27th.
Right yeah, and
but right now the top 5 is Tampa Bay, the Dodgers, Boston, Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs, and then it's us, the Mets, the Yankees, Mariners, and Detroit rounding out the top 10.
Where did they have the White Sox?
That's on evaluation at number 4.
And they had Boston at 3? Boston was clear-cut number 1 before the Crochet trade. In my opinion, they should have never made that trade because you just reloaded Chicago for 1 year of Garrett Crochet. Or was it 2 years? Maybe 2 years.
What was I reading though? I sent it to you guys. It was interesting to me. That Pipeline Top 100 came out, and it was the first time in I don't know how many years there wasn't a single Oriole in the top 10. We had 2 in the top 20. It was
where's Basayo?
Mayo and Basayo were in the top. They were 13 and 14 or 14 and 15, I think.
Basayo is one of the best prospects in baseball.
I think somebody else came out with something today, and Basayo was number 3. It wasn't the official one though, but Basayo's good.
Oh yeah,
but I mean Bradfield I think snuck in on this new one at 86.
Adley can go to the Mariners and do TikToks with his girlfriend over in the Pacific Northwest. Bye.
They don't date anymore.
Oh my God. Why do you know that?
You got to stay hip.
She broke up with him right before the playoffs.
I don't. Who gives a shit, Tim?
I like following for good cooking tips.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I got to switch the microphone. There we go. Did that work? There. That'll work.
I want to know if I should eat at Chick-fil-A or Carl's Jr.
Neither.
His girlfriend's never ate there. Don't get me started on Fat Adley.
He's the first baseman of your future, Matt.
Boston doesn't finish above 3rd in this division for the next 2 years. Their offense isn't any good.
Boston's got to get out of the AL East first to get to the playoffs to win a World Series.
I fear Tampa Bay more this year than I do Boston. Boston got worse offensively, and they got worse in the bullpen, and they acquired one starter and then another starter who's got a 5 ERA. Boston does nothing to me at all. So, I mean, you got New York. The Orioles are going to be right there fighting. Probably Tampa Bay, Boston, and then Toronto.
Oh, that's funny.
Why? What is he upset about?
My Adley comment.
What about him?
First baseman of the future.
Oh. I don't think he's here long enough for that.
I don't think so either. You guys know who I think the first player that will be, and I mean, I want him to be the first player that gets extended out of this young mix. Yeah, but it's Jordan Westburg. I think Gunner's
go after Grayson too.
I think, I know Westy's a Boris guy, but I think Gunner has more of that name where Boris is going to feel like he can do the bullshit where he's like,
what he's doing now.
Yeah. What he's doing right now where he's, I want it deferred, but I also want an opt out where if my player leaves, you have to pay him.
Yeah.
I just want one World Series with Gunner before he inevitably leaves.
I want 2.
Because it's going to
take 3.
I mean, yeah. I'll take 1 because I haven't seen
I'll take a playoff
World
win.
Series for the Orioles in my lifetime.
Start with a playoff
I've
win.
seen 2 Lombardis for the sad sack of shit that, that the team that played last weekend.
It should have been about 5 by now.
We didn't even talk about who's out, fellas. Is Urias, Mateo, who's
Urias can go.
I think Urias stays.
You think Mateo is the one that's on the cusp?
I think it all depends on how his arm is.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, look, all you ever hear about for Mateo,
that was a gnarly injury.
The positive is his speed. Like, we don't fucking run. Excuse my French. Like,
don't.
why do I care about somebody's speed if you don't use it? I mean,
So he can run really fast on a pop fly with 2 outs in the 9th inning and get to third base before the ball hits the glove.
cool.
It's
Like-
we have Gunnar Henderson who could be a 40-40 player, and we don't steal bases. So
Yeah, at least a 30-30.
Holiday could probably steal 40
but we don't steal
Yeah.
bases.
That's what I mean. Like,
because our manager sucks. Because our manager is awful. Because our manager doesn't know what he's doing on a nightly basis.
I heard he
Yeah, I
went
don't
out
know
to
what that
dinner with
deal
John
is.
Harbaugh right before the
Oh, the losers luncheon. Okay, I
right
see
before
what-
the Bills
what's
game. They
going
went
on
out to
there.
dinner.
I bet they did.
you're getting
I
him
bet
fired
they
up for
did.
no reason.
How am I going to fuck this up? Look, I'm so glad the Orioles brought Adam Jones back. Because when they fire Hyde in June, if they don't give it to Buck, they can give it to AJ. Come out of the office, put your number 10 back on, and be the manager the rest of the way.
I don't know if he'd
And
make
get
a
the-
good
get-
manager. I think he
I don't know if he
He's a
would
little
either,
too
but
silly.
I'm pretty sure he could be better than Buck or Brandon Hyde.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure I can be a manager better than Brandon Hyde.
I think that
You know who else would be a better manager than Brandon Hyde? Helen Keller.
I think that Adam Jones is actually trying to get his feet wet in the operations side of
Yeah,
things.
me too.
It's sort of like
That's fine.
learn
That's
from
fine.
Mike and go be the
AJ
director of scouting or something.
AJ can do that, but they need to go. The first thing that Mike can have Adam do is go find us a manager that actually, pays attention. I'm at that point in this show right now. Yeah, it's
We
Yeah.
could tell.
between AJ. I mean, between Adley and Hyde, I'm gonna have a bad year. Play that fucking
I have a
box and I'll
bad
shove it
year
up
just
your
having
ass.
John Harbaugh around here. But
Hyde is a good rebuild coach. He should just tell every team, all 30 teams in baseball, if you're rebuilding, I'll be your manager. But when all your good players come up in the minor leagues, get me out of here because I don't know what
Is
to
he
do.
paired? Now let me double down on you here. Is Hyde paired with a good rebuild GM?
have to
Yes,
be.
because they can be incompetent together and not. Get
I
in
guess I
trouble
should
for it.
rephrase that. Is that all that he is?
Yes, he should have been fired after we got swept by the fucking Rangers.
Who do you think steers the ship at All-Star break?
Anybody but him, please. It'll probably be.
Speaking of
Buckley.
new positions, Zach, have they announced anyone as far as athletic trainer promotions or any of the base coach promotions, anything like that?
I haven't really seen anything.
I haven't. Interesting.
I'm
to see
actually
where that
looking it
goes.
up because back when Houston went through this, they had Bo Porter as their rebuild manager, and they fired him after 2 years. And I'm trying to figure out what happened to him after that. And he went on to the Braves.
Probably an Amazon delivery driver.
Yeah, maybe. So he went on to the Braves in 2014 as a third base coach, and then he never coached again. Oh, he actually works for Masson. Okay. On the national side.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay. So wait a minute. The Angels hired him last November to be the first base coach. It's just interesting how he was kind of put in that position in Houston to be the rebuild guy, and then was seemingly out of baseball for a bit, and now he's back.
If I had a choice of working with the Nationals or being a first base coach, I would choose the latter.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, this offense is too good for Brandon Hyde to be doing this shit.
It is. But I think with injuries this year, I think I'm hoping we see something a little bit better, at least with bullpen issues and stuff.
What he does is the equivalent of passing on a 2-point conversion when you got Derrick Henry in the backfield every single night, all summer long.
Fair. But hopefully with a healthier bullpen. some of those decisions will change this year.
Like
Yeah.
he makes me want to walk off the 395 overpass by Topgolf. like this.
Where
is
do
crazy.
we Zach said the words bullpen, and I wanted to ask this earlier. Where are we on a confidence level with the Mountain?
I'm cautiously optimistic.
You know, they say it takes a year to get your control back. So if he's healthy, are we in that year of control back? Zach would probably be able to advise on this question more.
It was what, August of 2022?
Yes.
Dude, I mean, we're going on year.
No, August of 23.
No,
Was it?
correct. 23 because 24
Yeah,
just
it was.
happened.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, you're over a year. I mean, you're looking at a year and a half before he pitches in spring training. I mean,
That's a
he
scary
should be
guy
ready.
to not have his control.
I could care less about the control, to be honest with you. It's more about his speed because he throws a flat fastball. And if it's only 96, 97, he's going to get hit all over the ballpark.
Yep.
If he's not throwing 99 plus, he might not be on this team past the trade deadline.
Because he doesn't really have much in the arsenal other than throwing straight down at the ground from you at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, look, when you know it's coming, we saw it with Kyle Tucker, you can still hit it out. I mean, and that was at 101. Imagine what 96 looks like to these guys. It's like a cheese puff.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
like a
if
meatball.
he's not throwing that hard, we have serious problems, and I would be pretty upset we didn't address the position a little bit better. I'm cautiously optimistic as well that we didn't address it, that they know he's healthy and he has hit those numbers on a radar gun, but
You segued into where I was going with it. I was waiting for you to tell me your confidence level was meh, and then why didn't we address it? And who's the guy? Is it Cano?
God, I hope not.
I'll stop
It
watching.
would have to be Dominguez, I would feel like. Or not.
Yep.
And I actually talked about, I was on
Yay.
I was on with Paul Valley yesterday morning with Press Box Sports. If Sagano doesn't get a starting role, why wouldn't we maybe try him as a closer with having 6 pitches? You never know what's coming at that point.
I would do that, or just like make Big Al a closer.
Maybe.
Yeah,
His ball is a little bit flat
Or
too,
at
though.
least
it can be.
at least the 8th inning guy.
8th inning's probably fine. He could do it. I don't know if he has that bulldog mentality. He's just too calm, like too much of a calm demeanor for me. I want a guy that's like a little crazy in the head.
Grayson Rodriguez.
Yeah, but
I would love it.
G-Rod would be an insane
would.
closer. He would be a
We've
monster
floated that
closer.
issue before. If it got tight and later in his career, if he was still had his velocity up, oh man.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a 50 save guy.
I thought DL Hall would have been a fantastic closer. I have no idea why Milwaukee hasn't tried that, especially losing Devin Williams. You got to replace him somehow.
What's his name from the Nationals go? Did he go somewhere?
Nowhere yet. Finnegan?
Finnegan, yeah.
Nowhere yet.
God, I would like that too.
Kendall Graveman also.
He'll go to the Dodgers.
Nowhere.
Dodgers.
Who's all left? Let's see. Sports Track.
I would like Finnegan.
Every reliever left is probably a Dodger.
They don't have any room left. They did say they're trying to trade some of their bullpen arms because they don't have room.
Oh yeah.
We just don't. It worries me that they have to. You're right, Zach and Matt. They have to know that Felix is hitting those numbers and that he's ready. They have to know that because we literally do not have a closer.
So Kenley Jansen's out there.
Closer. We don't have an ace. We don't have a long guy.
So you got Kendall Graveman, Drew Smiley, Dave Robinson, Ken Jansen. Estevez is still out there. It doesn't really move the needle for me too much. Finnegan's still out there. Will Smith. Ottavino throws kind of hard, but nah.
Don't worry. Brandon Hyde will throw out CNO Perez in the 9th inning. Don't worry about that.
like Ryan Yarbrough. I would upgrade Aiken or Perez
Fear not.
with Yarbrough.
Robbie Ray would be good. One of the commenters.
No, I wouldn't want him.
I mean, I would take him in the back end of the bullpen. I don't necessarily know about Joe Radke. You need to wash that filthy mouth of yours. If I see that stupid ass elbow hang in a black and orange jersey again, I'm gonna throw up violently.
That's your boy, though.
I picked him to go to the All-Star game. I didn't think I was going to be right. I did not think I was going to be right,
Austin
Tim.
Voth is available.
Oof. Yeah,
There's
I don't
actually
know.
a guy that I found the other day that I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on, at least at a minor league deal, is Jalen Beeks. Coming from Pittsburgh. He's a left-handed relief guy. Throws pretty damn hard.
Randall, don't you wish that evil on us, Ricky Bobby.
He probably would.
You might as well bring back Ubaldo.
Don't.
Oh, did I strike a nerve?
How is Tim Hill still a damn? I don't care if he's 35 years old. Dude is making $750,000. Like, why are the Orioles not on the phone with him? Why haven't the Yankees signed him back? He dominated in their bullpen last year.
Let's go see what Rich Hill's doing. I know he's like 50.
He's pitching, actually. He's trying to get signed. Don't put that out there.
Let's just sign.
Don't.
You know, he can start on the 31st when we play the Red Sox at home. It'll be a good opening day. I'll freeze my balls off for some guy that's going to need icy hot in between innings on his elbow.
I don't know. I hope that we don't know enough that the mountain is good and we're rocking.
What about somebody like McDermott as a closer?
I don't think he really throws hard enough. He signed in Pittsburgh.
Or Brandon Young.
Yeah, Miza to the Pirates. Brandon Young, maybe. I don't know. They've got some guys that look. Like I was talking about earlier. So the young guys. So Zach Fruit throws over 100 miles an hour. He's moving into Bowie this year. I think Bowie gets 3 guys this year that are throwing over 100. If one of those pans out, this farm system is not as depleted as people really think it is. These guys are literally taking the step this year. Did they light up what they were in last year? No, but they're taking their steps. They got better. All of them had really good second halves. I think our system is damn good still. I mean, even past, Honeycutt, I still feel like we have a lot of outfielders, just center fielders alone with Austin O'Verne and Nate George, like that are just falling right back in line. Like, system's still pretty loaded. They're just not ranked yet because, like, Nate George didn't play last year. O'Verne only played a couple games. Honeycutt only played a couple games. If Honeycutt would have played, after getting drafted a full season, he probably is a top 100 player right now. Like, that's why these rankings are kind of weird.
And it blows my mind that you think about it, like when these guys are coming up and just starting to make a name for themselves, and then I go back and think of, hey, the guy that the Orioles signed today, he's the same age as Heston.
Mm-hmm. Dylan Carlson.
And in 2021, he was up for NL Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And we've seen Heston play 15 games.
Yeah.
And they're the same age. So it's some of these guys are behind the 8 ball, so to speak, just because of the logjam that's been going on in the farm system.
Yeah. I mean, look, Heston was dealt a rough start to his career.
He was.
With the myocarditis. And then I think he had something after that when he came back. Like, it's just unfortunate. He missed basically 2.5 years of baseball. But still a good player. I mean, would love to keep him around. I think he's a fantastic hitter. But I mean, look, if he fetches me Michael King or something like that, like, hey, thanks for the 25 games that you played.
Yep.
That's how I'm there.
No, I fully agree. I wanted to hop on with you guys tonight once we were shooting the shit in chat because I got excited. This move to me, and I don't care what anyone says, how can you believe that? How can you trust in that? I think this move might be addressing or a pre-move, so to speak, of something in the works, something coming. Because they didn't need to rush to get this guy.
Yeah.
They could have done it after the deal. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something behind the scenes here. I'm hoping it's, obviously you want to hope for the best, which would start with those two big names out on the West Coast that have become headlines and we know are available now.
The C stuff quieted down real quick. And I don't know if that's maybe because of asking price and whatnot. But they're desperate. I mean, at first they weren't moving Michael King, and now they are. So like they're desperate to move somebody. And I mean, look, and we talked about it, and I put it on Twitter. Like, you have a team that's desperate, ask for the moon. And if that moon is either Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis with it, fuck it.
Eat it.
Fuck it.
Can you imagine a Manny reunite in Baltimore with this clubhouse?
It
Maybe.
would be electric.
I think for the fans, it would be electric.
I would like Tatis. I mean, he's 26 years old and he's only making $25 million a year. That's not much.
It's not. What's Manny at right now?
And he's like, what, 32 or 33?
I wanted to say 33.
I'm not very good at numbers. So he signed an 11-year, $35 million a year, 45 signing bonus, annual salary of 31.8. So,
you know who I want to see on the major league roster in the next year or two? He's a pitcher in the organization. I would love to see Jared Beck in the bullpen.
Beck, huh? I've heard the name once.
7 feet tall, 230, and he looks like.
Oh, is he the guy from Delmarva?
Yeah, Delmarva guy. Give me Jared Beck.
He'll be up in Aberdeen this year, probably.
Yeah.
This is Mountain 2.0.
He makes the mountain look small. He's got like 4 inches in height.
Do you guys watch college baseball at all?
Yeah.
Do you remember a couple of years ago from LSU, that big, the larger guy that was just mowing everybody down? God, what the hell was his name?
I only know the LSU guy that was all over the headlines from last year. Oh, man.
But anyway, this guy's in our system now, and he was dominating, and he didn't get moved up last year, and I don't know why. Riley Cooper.
Yes.
6'2", 270 pounds. Left-handed pitcher. He had a 3.07 ERA last year in 24 games. He had 84 Ks in 88 innings. That's a guy that's going to move up into Aberdeen next year. So, I mean, it's retooling.
I like Beck because they say he throws around 93 and tops out at 95. For a 7 foot tall dude, that 95 probably seems like 105 coming at you after his stride and release. Speaking of Pittsburgh Pirates, I think one of you guys has mentioned it. Did you see the 11-year-old kid that got the Paul Skeens 101 turn down their offer?
I'm a
the
card
parents
guy. Of course,
they
I
offered.
saw that.
The parents did. Did you see the kid's journal?
Yeah.
Yeah, the kid wanted to keep the card. The parents want to sell it.
Right, he wants to keep the card, but like, why are you offering a kid that lives in California 30 years of tickets behind home plate? And Livy Dunn said that she would let him sit with her in a suite.
To be fair, they did make that offer before the card was pulled, so that was to whoever pulled it. Like that offer was made forever, like a while ago when the product first came out, because that was one of the only debut 101s that hadn't been found yet. There's a couple other really sick ones, but the Pirates put that offer out a while back, and in my head, I'm like, that card could be pulled anywhere. You would have to be on the East Coast within driving distance for that deal to ever make sense. Maybe, I was like, just maybe they'll offer you the monetary value of that, but it's not going to compare for what that card got put in. What auction companies got it? I can't remember. It's going to go for a lot.
Yep.
$3 million
plus.
Probably $3 to $4 million.
It probably sure is.
I'd buy it for $3 and tell the Pirates, give me $5 and you can have it. Play the money game.
Exactly.
Moose has got it right.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, if that offer was from the Baltimore Orioles and it was a Gunnar Henderson 101, I might
take the 30 years.
30 years behind home plate.
But I would maybe probably also ask for like a condo in Baltimore or something that I could just stay at and park at and walk over.
You know what? I wouldn't even ask for behind home plate. I'd say cut that time in half. Give me 15 years of a suite.
I'll take it.
Give me 15 years of a suite.
Now, bigger question: would you see a World Series in that 15 years?
I wouldn't care at that point. I'm sitting in a suite every home game.
All you can eat crab cakes, baby.
Or you could sell it too and make more money. Yep.
Yeah. But I'm not saying it would be a one. Like I would need like the 20 tickets that come with that suite every single game. I'm gonna make you pay there, David. But that's just me.
Yep. All right. I think we're running out of stuff to talk about here. We're probably gonna wrap this one up. What do you guys think?
That'll do it, guys.
That'll do it.
It was a
That'll
good
do
first. It was a good first episode of Foul Ball Talk for the 2025 Baltimore Orioles season. We'll be back in probably the next week or two, and depending if there's any major moves made. If one of these San Diego,
We're going live that night,
or we'll be going live that night, absolutely. But until then, we'll be back with more of a definitive look at the roster. A lot less bullshitting, a lot more analytical approach to who we see making the 26 out of camp. Any surprises? Tim and I have some pretty special guests. We're working on a lineup for the season. So, obviously Zach, who has, brought us on board over here at Pigtown. We thank you, Zach. It's going to be a great year of collaborations, but we'll stay tuned for some surprises, and we will be back a little bit closer to the start of spring training.
so I'm not going to get you started with Orioles trivia just yet, but I will.
You can.
No,
do it. Just do it.
I got something a little different up my sleeve. I want you to do some homework for me.
No, I didn't do homework at St. Joe. What are we
I want
doing
you
here?
to come to our next live stream and give me your number one surprise at spring training prediction. What you think is going to be an off-the-wall hot take coming out of spring training that is going to greatly affect this 2025 season.
I can do that.
Zach, you too.
Okay.
I know it. I already know what Zach's thinking. I can see it on his face.
I'm logging into Twitter and Chrome. Don't worry about me.
Hold on. Since it's the first episode, Joe has been pumping up 108 wins the last 3 or 4 lives. I told Joe on Facebook if we win 108 games, I'll give him my slot and he can talk with you guys for one night.
could make good with that promise I made about my scooter in Camden Yards.
You should.
I swear to God.
You should tell everybody right now so it's on record.
I swear to God, we will never be friends again if I see them swinging from your fucking
Rolling around
seat.
Camden Yards, baby, right down Utah.
He's talking about doing it naked.
Okay.
The naked lap around the yard.
Asshole, a naked lap in his scooter, balls just a swinging. We're not doing that, Tim. It's going to be a whole new meaning of foul ball.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, punny.
All right, fellas.
Please don't.
All right.
Matt, you going to break us down?
That'll do it, folks. You can find us on X at @mtrig_BIR, at Foul Ball Talk for Tim, and at Pigtown Sports for Zach. That'll do it for the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you guys next time.
See y'all later.
Peace.